I rewatched the Shadowhunters series finale. Ugh. There's so much to unpack. This video right here might end up being two videos. There's a second part coming out tomorrow. So yeah, we're just gonna get into this episode and all the important stuff that happened. I'm going over all the important things and or like minor like character moments that are kind of cool to me. The finale starts with the gang in Edom, and that includes Lorenzo Ray and Meliorn, in addition to the usual cast of characters. And they're facing Lilith, who Magnus literally burned alive in the last episode, season 3, episode 21. And yeah, she somehow survived, and she's pissed. She turned into a wraith and tried to attack Magnus, but ended up slicing Meliorn with her wing, and everything goes sideways after that. Um, Meliorn is dying, and Jace is tied to him with the Alliance rune, so he just can't lie, which ends up being funny because he hits us with the most Jace thing ever. When Alex says nobody's gonna die, you're gonna be okay. Jace said, actually he might. I mean, yeah, but that's probably not the best thing to say to someone who's, dying. I don't know, man. When Lilith comes back, Magnus and Lorenzo team up with their firepower, with their fire spell, and shoot Lilith. And yeah, it doesn't work. And then when they couldn't defeat Lilith, um, Izzy tries, even though people told her not to, and then she catches on fire because of it. And when Magnus and Lorenzo try to heal her with magic, the Heavenly Fire blocks their magic, which is so crazy. And then Clary has the idea to put the Alliance rune on Izzy, and then tie her to all of them so they can absorb some of the flames. And Lorenzo is just sitting there like, but how do we know if it's not going to fry us all up? We all have demon blood now. And then Alec, Alec Lightwood hits him with the best line in, like one of the best lines in the show. We all have Nephilim blood too, because they're all tied to each other, so they all would have Nephilim blood when they're connected. So I was like, that's awesome. I love that line, guys. If you didn't already um feel that, but that's such a cool line. I love that moment. And then Izzy is laying on the ground and is like, no, it's too dangerous. And Simon's like, if this is the only way we're gonna save you, then we're all gonna die trying. Like, I love Simon and Izzy. They're the cutest couple. We didn't get enough of them. I I hate getting enough of them. That's why I'm with them so much in my trilogy, The Angelic Warlock. If you want more information about that, check my Instagram because I have a lot more information there. Um, yeah. So Izzy like gets healed by the rune, and like she feels the fire coming out of her, and it shoots up in the sky and breaks Edom. And then Lorenzo hits everyone with the line. Isabel might be okay, but Edom, it appears that Edom is very much not. I mean, yeah. And then later, after they're about to leave, Alex says, "What about the rift?" And then Magnus was like, "There's no point in protecting the rift if Eden doesn't exist," and then just ducks through it. Like, I mean, yeah, he's not wrong. And then the next morning, the couples all wake up in their beds, and Simon is his morning scene. It's so cute. And like, oh, and and Simon says, "You know, it's weird. You and me, it's not weird. Like, it feels weird, but it's not weird. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's super cute, guys. Yeah, hasn't really had experience with a relationship, and he just says, I'm even worse. They're so awkward and cute. I just can't breathe, guys. We need more of them. Oh, and don't even get me started on Magnus and Alec. Magnus wakes up and he just stares at Alec, and it's so cute because he's like, wow, this man really came to eat him for me. Like, I love them. Um, the next step, of course, is for Magnus and Alec to plan their wedding. And so Magnus, starts with the destination. He's like, how about Machu Picchu or the Temple of the Sun? And then Alec comes in with, or what about the New York Institute? And Magnus is just like, right. When I think of romantic, I think of the New York Institute. But Alec explains why it matters, and I absolutely love it. The Clave would have to celebrate a Shadowhunter and a Warlock relationship. And and then he's like, okay, fine. And then Magnus was like, Tuxes? And Alec, well, Alex says, I do like you in a tux. It's just so cute. Malec is my favorite relationship in the show. They're so good. And Sizzy is second, and Clay's obviously third. But yeah, anyway. And then they kiss, and I love the kisses, bro. Like, it's so good every time. I can't get enough of them. Next, it cuts to Jace and Clary, and they are just doing their own thing, and all of a sudden a note flies through the air, and they catch it, and on it is Malec's invite to their wedding, and Clary says, I can't think of a more perfect couple for each other. And Jace, the cutest line ever, says, I can think of one. And Cat's face in this scene, it, it's so cute. I love the show, but the actors are so good. Then, um, Jace goes to Alec to, tell him congratulations and stuff. And he said he heard the news, but he felt it long before he got the invite. And and then he then Alec asked Jace to be his Sujan again, because Jace was his Sujan at Alec and Lady's wedding. That never happened. Um, or Alec tells Jace that he's moving in with Magnus, and Jace says, "Don't be a stranger." And Alec responds, "I'm your parabatai. Wherever I go, you're right there next to me." Like, I know that, like, that is peak parabatai, and the way that Matt Daddario like says it, and that I could just feel that. Like, the acting is so good in the show. And speaking of parabatai, Izzy asks Clary if she's freaked out about um Izzy and Simon being together. And um Claire says that um that two of her favorite people are together and that she's ecstatic. And I just love that for them. Um and then Luke tries to come back to the Institute, and Underhill tries to stop him. And Claire's like, Underhill, it's okay. It's my dad. And then she just hugs him. And it's so cute. I just love that scene. And then Luke says he's he has to tell Alec that he's gonna miss his wedding. And Claire he just says, good luck with that. Because she knows that it's gonna be hard. I love this. And then Clary sees a light behind them. She follows it and finds Jocelyn, her mother, who tells her never to use her rune creation powers again because the angels are mad. This moment sets up the fall of the fall of the rest of the episode. So yeah, that's crazy. And then Magnus, while planning his wedding, is doing cake testing alone with magically created cakes. And then Lorenzo comes in and Magnus thanks him for saving his life in Edom. And it cuts to Alec talking to Maris, his mom, about inviting Robert Lightwood, his dad, to the wedding. And Maris says, what happened between Robert and me? He's still your father. I love her for that. Oh, um, and then she says, and in that conversation, they're talking about how she doesn't know what to wear, and Alec pulled out this dress that Magnus had ready for Maris, and she says it's perfect. Of course it is, because Magnus made it. And then trouble happens. Jonathan Morgenstern is attacking the um, LA Institute and takes out everyone except for Max and Robert Lightwood. And then massacres Mundanes to get to the New York Institute. And Claire decides to go alone because she knows Jonathan won't kill her. She lies to Magnus um, about Toronto, and because she needs him to open a portal for her. In reality, she's following Jocelyn's warning, not making another rune, or using her rune creation powers to make a portal, which makes sense, but yeah. Then Clary tries to talk to Jonathan and trying to reach him emotionally and try to reach his his humanity, and he starts to soften, and they hug, and Clary activates some sort of rune. We don't get to see what it is that activates angel wings. She wraps them around Jonathan, and he says she's hurting him, and through tears streaming down her face. She says, "It's okay," and he dies. And she gives him the Shadowhunter farewell. Ave atque vale. And then a rune on her arm begins to fade. And this is where we end part one of this two-part Shadowhunters finale review. And that's the build-up. The chaos, the setup, the foreshadowing. Part two is where everything goes crazy. The Malec wedding, the dances, goodbyes, time jumps, and the final moment that destroyed us all. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave a like and subscribe, because I'm making part two tomorrow, and it's going to be even longer because I have so much to talk about.